Hello and welcome to a new episode of my Infdev Hardcore series. A bit of time has passed since the last episode, during which I did a bit of caving, thanks to which I found quite a bit of diamonds. As you can see, I've got almost used X thanks to the lucky coin, which gives me fortune. And I also happened to find another thing, which is a slipgate, which I can use to access the Crimson Dimension, which was quite unexpected because originally I was planning to sort of use the start of the episode to search for it, and I was planning to use the crimson eyes, which are crafted from ochre eyes and rubies. You can find the recipe if you use the knowledge book. That's because the crimson eyes can be used like the ender eyes in Minecraft, like find these slipgates the same way you find the stronghold. However, I won't be going in right now. That's because I still need to repair my stuff some more. I need to repair my sword, repair my armor, and prepare the gear that I want to take there. And now that my gear is in better shape, I'm gonna prepare some gear that I want to take with me. The first thing that I'm thinking of are the Band of Regeneration and the Ancient Shield to protect me against the casting explosions. Next up, the glacial staff, which has been recently changed. That's because when it runs out of durability, you can use it to throw snowballs infinitely. So let me just make it run out of durability, and now you can see that I can throw snowballs as many as I want to, which is useful in the Crimson Dimension, because some of the mobs like the fire imps or the blazes or fire elementals get damaged by the snowballs, which I think will be quite useful. Next, I'm gonna make some teleporters, some red ones, green ones, and blue ones. Seems like the snowmen are causing creepers to explode. And this one is still agreeing at me. Well, anyway, the reason why I want to craft the teleporters is because the teleporters in different dimensions are kind of separate, but the rings are separate. So, for example, if I have red teleporters in the Crimson Dimension and red teleporters in the Overworld, then the links between them won't interfere. So you can have like more teleport links like that, at least in like different dimensions. Next up, I would like to make some golden carrots because the recipe has gotten cheaper somewhat recently. I want to make a stack, for which I need this much gold. That's because now you use golden nuggets instead of golden ingots to craft the carrots, like so. I think I'm going to use them in the Crimson Dimension instead of the potatoes. I'm also going to take a bow with me, but I think I'm going to craft a new one instead of these damaged ones. Plus I have this crossbow with me, so I'm gonna take some more crossbow bolts just in case. And I'll also take a quiver since I think that will be useful. And last but not least, I'm going to take some splash water bottles with me. That's because they can be used to put out mobs that are on fire. And after that, I also went ahead and grabbed myself some building blocks, a splash healing potion and a resistance potion. So I think I'm now ready for the journey. So let's head in. And it seems that we have appeared in a Gilded Caverns biome, which is kinda nice because it gives us access to the wax bulbs, which are a food source which you can grow. As you can see, I can just plant them or eat them. I could eat them if I was hurt, and they give you the night vision effect. And it's also useful because you can find the fire elementals or blazes. There should be one nearby because I can hear it. Oh, there it is. Here you can see why the glacial slab is used in the crescent dimension. As you can see, I killed the fireman without using much. Using less resources because I didn't use up enough of the durability. But anyway, the reason why it is useful to have these fire mantle or their blazes is because they drop fire charges. I think they are the only mob which drop them. And the reason why I want these fire charges, why I might want the fire charges is firstly because they can be used to relight the spawners, and secondly because I need to use them to build the portal to get into the void dimension so I can get to the final boss. But anyway, I'm now going to set up a bit of a base here on this dimension, and then I'm gonna start exploring. And after that, I built a bit of a base in the Crimson Dimension and also made some changes to my setup in the overworld. As you can see, I've placed the blue teleport on the surface. That's because when you exit the Crimson Dimension, you end up at the same coordinate as where you've left from the Crimson Dimension, but you end up on the highest block. So the idea is basically that you can just then use the teleporter to get back home. And when I'm coming into the Crimson Dimension, I can just jump down through this hole to get to the slip gate. I've placed a couple just in case to slow me down, because I'm in creative, so you can never be too safe. But anyway, let's jump in. As you can see, I've built a bit of a wall around the point of entry. I've placed a rope which I can use to get to the top, so I can exit the Crimson Dimension. And I've also made 2 points where I can exit, which reminds me that I've forgot to bring back home. Bring doors from home. So I'm gonna quickly get those, and then start exploring. Also, before I go exploring, there are 2 things that I forgot to mention. First being that there is another exit from this place, which leads into a room with the teleporters and a bit of storage. And you can also use a ladder to climb up on top of these walls to sort of check out the surroundings. Now, I did say that I was going to go exploring. However, before I do that, there is one more thing that I've realized that I should do, which is that I should build some places to get some more fire charges. That's because I need fire charges to brew some fire resistance potion, which will be quite useful in the Crimson Dimension. So I'm gonna hunt a bit and then go exploring. And as you can see, I have managed to find them. Here is one, and here is the dungeon of the other. However, I'm not yet going to fight them. That's because I still want to gather some more fire charges, and I want to grab some stuff from home that will be useful for fighting them. Anyway, and then I'm gonna continue exploring to find the other dungeon type. And now that I've made the fire resistance potions, I would like to start preparing for the fight. The first thing that I like to do is to make some diamond armor. And next up, I'm going to make myself a charm by scrapping one of the boots that I have. That charm being the Alexios crown, which protects me from negative effects, which will be quite useful against the witch, since she gives me various debuffs. Also, before I continue, there is one thing that I'd like to say, which is that in the last episode I made a mistake when it comes to the Thorns armor. I have said that you need a full set of the Thorns armor to get the Thorns effect. That is not true. That is because for every piece of the Thorns armor you deal half of a heart of damage to your attackers. So you get 2 hearts of damage if you wear full set, but if you only wear one piece you still deal half a heart of damage. And aside from it, I think I'll also grab a Marmasa for the fight. And great stuff, which I need to repair. Aside from that, I went ahead and also grabbed myself some resistance and strength potions. So I'd say that now I'm ready for the fight. I just need to reach there. Just gonna quickly freeze her using the freezing arrows that I have. And fight. By switching between the Marmasa, or now that I look at it, it seems that she's sweet. So I should probably spawn these decoys so that she focuses kind of on them, although now that I hit her, she focusing on them, so it probably wasn't necessary. Seems like accidentally I've knocked her out. Where's she now? I'm over there with my decoy. And it seems like she fell into her own trap. She's getting hurt by her own potion, I think. That should soon be over. It seems like the Alexios crown is broken, and here's the key. Oh yeah, I have it. That's good. Anyway, I'm just going to quickly heal myself after the potion runs out, and then I'm gonna check out the loot. And now that I'm back up, I must say the fight was shorter than I expected. It was less than 4 minutes, and my armor didn't get all that damaged. So the Alexios crown did that quite a lot of damage. Finally, time to check out the loot, and I got some life shards. Not that useful. And Ifrit armor, for which I think, oh yeah, it requires full set for the effect. And now that I got the stuff from the block chest, I'm going to explore the dungeon a bit. That's because it's got some regular chests strewn around, which can have some interesting stuff in them. Like for example this corn sword or this herbalist pouch. I'm gonna take the stuff that I'm interested in. Also, one thing that I've forgotten to say when I've opened the lock chest is that the reason why I'm grabbing these life shards is because they can also be used to heal yourself. So that will be useful during like fights. I'm gonna collect them. Seems like we got some interesting stuff. Okay. Some damascus. Some diamonds, scroll of unbreaking, explosive bolts, and a herbalist pouch. That's quite nice. More interesting stuff, we got a musket, which is a quite powerful ranged weapon, a disc, and some more dark matter and a lava sponge. I've got to organize my inventory first to get them. And now that I've finished exploring the dungeon, it is time to conquer the second one. As you can see, I've changed my loadout a bit. I've replaced the Muramasa with the battle axe. I got rid of the crossbow, and I also bought myself a splash potion. That's because there's an advancement for hitting the witch with a splash potion, so I want to get that. Anyway, first I need to reach the witch to fight her. So I just need to reach a bit. Seems like she came to me to look for her. Also, one thing that I forgot to mention is that I've enchanted my electrical crows with unbreaking so that it hopefully lasts a bit longer. Alright, seems like the Elixir's crown didn't last that long since the area of the packet cloud is quite basically destroying it. But it's fine since I've already managed to defeat the witch, which reminds me that I forgot to hit it with the splash potion. But maybe I'll be able to do that with another witch that I might find. Now that I've gotten to the witch's room, it is time to check out the loot. Got the Devil's Claw, that is quite useful for getting around, and some red gear, and the Vampire Blade, which heals you whenever you kill an enemy, which is somewhat nice. Anyway, now that I've defeated the boss, I'm going to explore it to see if I find anything useful, like these golden apples. Anyway, after the last clip, I finished exploring the second dungeon, and I managed to get quite a few useful things. In this chest, I got all the useful things that I got from both of the dungeons. As you can see, I've grabbed quite a few golden swords, perhaps too many golden swords since I don't think I'll use all of them. I got quite a few damascus bars, which is nice since I didn't need to mine for them. I plan to explore to find some more damascus, but that's something for a bit later. Now I got 3 things that I like to do. The first being that I would like to explore the Crimson a bit more to find the second dungeon type, which is the fortress. I would like to also get the Sword of Michael, which is my favorite weapon, and I would also like to find the biome known as the Echoing Abyss, because that's filled with the amethyst, which is the gem that is needed to the Crimson Dimension. But for all that, I'm gonna need to do some more exploring, which reminded me that I should have grabbed a diamond pickaxe with me. That's because the amethyst ore, which gives me amethyst, requires a gold pickaxe to be mined, and the damascus ore requires a diamond pickaxe to be mined. So I need this in case I find any. And it didn't take too long, and I actually managed to find an Echoing Abyss biome. And as you saw, I also found another witch dungeon, but it was kind of small, so there wasn't anything interesting there. But anyway, now I'm gonna head over to that biome. And I'm gonna get some amethyst and set up a teleporter there, so that I can return there if I want to ever. because I can also use it to collect some obsidian, as you can see. And while I'm here, I need to be wary of these lurkers. They are kind of like wardens in Modern MC in that they don't attack you unless they can sort of hear you. So they won't attack me as long as I'm crouching here. And it seems that after a while of looking, I have managed to find a fortress. So I'm going to locate the boss room, place a teleporter near it, and then prepare myself for the fight. And here it is. Anyway, now I think I'm ready. I decided not to comment on the Aura this time. I just decided to take a musket with me and a pharaoh staff to summon the termites. And I'm also going to load the musket before I start the fight, so that it is ready. And now it is time to fight. I'm gonna try to defeat it with the glacial staff to see if I can. As you can see, I can also use it to like block the projectiles that shoots out. And so far it seems to be working, kind of. Oh, it's not particularly interesting. And it seems like my strategy worked quite well. I didn't even need the other weapons. Which reminds me that I think there's actually an advancement for shooting the Inferno with the musket, which I didn't do. So I'll probably do it for the next dungeon if I find it. And it seems like I got just what I wanted, like the Sword of Michael, which has got the dash ability. It's my very good weapon in the game, so I'm happy that I got it, and I've been able to get 2. Anyway, now that I did it, I think I'm going to do a bit of more exploring to see if I find other dungeons. I think that'd be good. I don't think there's officially anything interesting to find in this dungeon, so I'm going to continue exploring right now. Although now I remember there actually is something interesting. You can find these chests in here which can have some interesting stuff. I'm gonna look for some, like for example this dark mirror. I think I have explored enough dungeons now, so now I like to try to get some more damascus from the Crimson Dimension. However, before I do that, there are a few things that I like to do. The first being to scrap some of the muskets that I have, or most of them. I believe I should have enough points for that. And as you can see, this gave me 21 more damascus bars, which is quite nice. Next up, I'm going to enchant the Sword of Michael with sharpness and unbreaking. Which reminds me that there is one thing that I've forgotten to say about this sword, which is that the sword has got the mending ability, which means that whenever I kill a mob, it gets repaired. For example, if now it is damaged, and if I hit this cow again, it gets repaired. Next, I'm going to make myself the obsidian chest, which is basically the Infdev version of the ender chest. And the reason why I'm making it is because I plan to use the store the backpacks inside of it, where I'll have the various items from the dungeons, so that I got them always available to me. And here you can see what I meant. As you can see, I got various backpacks tied with various colors, which carry various things. So I got dungeon loot, golden apples, some building blocks, materials, and gear and such, some potions, and some food, plus some extra backpacks for storage. And what I can do is just pick this up and carry it anywhere. Plus I got this backpack, which I just carry always with me. Anyway, now that I've done that, I would like to move on to gathering some damascus. However, for that I would like to first get some feathers, and for that I'm gonna get myself a lucky coin and try to hunt some chickens. Which reminds me, I should also equip the spectacles. That will make locating the chickens easier. And as you can see, after a bit of hunting, I've managed to get a bit over 2 stacks of feathers, which I'm going to use to craft myself some explosive bolts, because I want to do some explosive mining in the Crimson Dimension. And the reason why I'm using the explosive bolts instead of the TNT is because you get 20 explosive bolts for the price of a single TNT, and I believe those 20 explosive bolts will explode more blocks than a single block of TNT. Anyway, now that I've got the bolts, I'm going to find a suitable location in the Crimson Dimension where I want to mine, and then I'm gonna start mining. And I think this should be a good spot for blowing stuff up. So I'm just gonna take out the explosives that I have, and also the crossbows so that I can actually use them, and start exploding stuff. Oh, I don't actually know if this is a optimal strategy, but I feel like it should work well enough. Also, one thing to know about this strategy is that Damascus ore isn't blast resistant, unlike the ancient debris in modern MC, so you should be careful not to blow it up if you decide to use this strategy. Also, there is some, and what I was trying to say is that I think that the Damascus ore spawns at all the high levels. I don't think there is a specific level where you should be looking where it spawns more often, but I'm not entirely sure about that. And after having used up all of my explosive bolts, I managed to get a grand total of 19 Damascus chunks, which, when combined with golden ingots, gives me 19 Damascus bars, I believe. I could have gotten more if I used the lucky coin, but I forgot to equip it. But anyway, now I'm going to return home, and then I'm gonna decide what I want to do next. Anyway, after returning home, I have decided that I've done enough in this episode. However, before I end it, there are 2 more things I'd like to do. The first being to show you some more uses for the amethyst. You can, for example, make an obsidian boat, which I've briefly shown you what the clips, you make it with obsidian and one amethyst. And another thing you can do is make a hell forge, like so, which is basically a furnace that allows you to smelt without using up any material, any fuel. You can see it smelting, and I haven't put any fuel in it, but you need to be careful for it not to overheat. You can kind of see how close it is to overheating. I believe you can smell up to 60 items before it overheats. So yeah, be careful when using it. And the second thing that I want to show you has to do with soul sand or soul cell, because if you light those on fire, you get the hellfire, which you can use to smelt up to an entire stack of items by throwing them in, which can be quite useful. But anyway, that will be it for this episode. I haven't yet decided what I want to do in the next one. I was thinking of visiting the astral dimension. The thing is that I would like to dedicate an entire episode to that, but the problem is that I also want to do some other stuff before visiting the astral, and I feel like it would take too long. But at the same time, that's the things that I want to do before visiting the astral. I don't think they'll fill up an entire episode, so I'm gonna have to decide what I want to do. Anyway, that's everything that I wanted to say, and I'll see you in the next one once I decide what I want to do.